Caitlin Clark's the new it. If you don't have a long ball, talking about the 26, 30 feet, if you ain't doing the Steph Curry, you ain't got none of that long ball in your game, yeah, you're going to be behind.
She's doing stuff we've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis. There's a lot of girls in WNBA that have done it in spurts, but that game I'm watching y'all in the Final Four, I'm like, damn, and I was a hater because I'm down. She was like, she's not gonna hit that shot, and bam, like, damn.
If you've been keeping up with basketball, you already know Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star, she's rewriting the story of women's hoops. Her talent and energy have shifted the way fans and players see the game, and even NBA legends. People who have spent their lives studying the sport are openly amazed. The buzz around the WNBA has never been this electric. And a big reason is Clark's skill and charisma, but here's where it gets even bigger. Michael Jordan himself has spoken up. The greatest of all time has finally shared his thoughts on Caitlin, and his words aren't just flattering, they're a statement to her growing legacy. But he's not the only Hall of Famer making noise. NBA great Rick Barry came out swinging in her defense, addressing the wave of negativity she's faced from some within the league. In Barry's view, it's not criticism, it's jealousy. Pure and simple, his message was blunt: Caitlin Clark's game speaks for itself, and the backlash is nothing more than fear of her impact for anyone still doubting her. Barry's words serve as a sharp reminder she's earned her place. She's changing the sport, and the respect she's getting is more than deserved.
I think it's reprehensible what they're allowing some of these players. Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
WNBA legend George Gervin has now added his voice to the growing list of icons standing up for Caitlin Clark, and his words carried real weight. Gervin didn't hold back when addressing the disrespect aimed her way, making it crystal clear that Clark's talent should be celebrated, not picked apart. His statement grabbed attention immediately, sending a strong message to anyone still doubting her. In Gervin's eyes, Caitlin's greatness isn't just a passing moment, it's here to stay, and when legends of the game are saying it, it's the truth.
They don't know the value that she's bringing for all of them. She bringing, they flying private planes now. They went flying private before she came. They on major networks now. They weren't doing that. See, she remind me of Tiger Woods for golf.
Yes.
Sometimes, the most unfiltered opinions come from voices that aren't constantly in the spotlight. That's why it's worth listening to former NBA guard Jeff Teague over his 12-year career. Teague was a steady starter, earned an all-star selection, and even picked up an NBA championship ring, but he was never the type to chase media attention or become a marketing face of the league. Now retired, TEG is speaking freely, and he hasn't been shy about criticizing how the WNBA has treated Caitlin Clark, entering the league with a massive fan base. Clark should have been embraced, but in Teg's view, that hasn't been the case.
Like, they played this all wrong, bro.
Terribly, bro.
They was supposed to gas this shit. This is why people don't watch the shit when y'all leave college, women's sports, because y'all hating on the best thing that's gonna happen to the W.
Jeff Teague's delivery may be blunt, but his message is hard to ignore after years of heated debate over the gender pay gap in sports and repeated struggles to grow the WNBA's visibility. Caitlin Clark's arrival has sparked real movement. Yet despite that momentum, her welcome into the league has been anything but smooth. Teague warns that this attitude isn't just unfair, it's hurting the league financially. He's clear about where he stands. Caitlin deserves far better treatment from both her peers and the people running the game. And he's not the only former star whose words have stirred the conversation. Celtics legend Paul Pierce played a role in shaping some of the early season media attention around Clark. The 10-time All-Star publicly questioned her abilities and even drew criticism for comments that sparked a racial controversy. Since then, Pierce has tried to step back from the backlash, gradually offering more respect to the Indiana Fever rookie. His tone shifted noticeably after Clark was left off the U.S. Olympic roster. Here's what Pierce had to say next.
You claim you want the women's game to grow, and then you keep the most popular girl in women's basketball off the team. How do you grow internationally and domestically if you don't put her on the U.S. team? It just makes the most sense. Sometimes you have to say, hey guys, this is bigger than the game, which it is. I mean, women's basketball is at an all-time high because of Caitlin Clark.
At first glance, Paul Pierce's comments about Caitlin Clark might sound respectful, but look closer, and you'll notice he's still not fully convinced about her game. Pierce argued that Clark should have been on the Youth Olympic roster to help grow the sport's popularity. yet hinted that her inclusion wouldn't have been based purely on merit. Then again, Pierce has long been one of the NBA's most provocative voices turned commentator. It's worth remembering that some of his opinions may be more about staying in the media spotlight than about balanced analysis. But just when it seemed the conversation around Caitlin couldn't get any more dramatic, Shaquille O'Neal delivered a surprise twist appearing on Angel, Reese's own podcast, right in front of one of Clark's most outspoken critics. Shaq openly praised her. It was a jaw-dropping exchange, an NBA legend defending Caitlin in the most unlikely setting. His words left no doubt Caitlin Clark is a rare talent, and even her fiercest detractors can't ignore it now. Let's hear it, straight from the Big Diesel himself.
And I was a hater because, I'm down. She was like, she's not going to hit that shot. And bam, I'm like, damn, she's not going to hit that shot. Man, like if I say 10 times you're not going to hit the shot and you hit the shot, that means you're the truth. So I'm telling you now, if you just lower it like this.
Missing the biggest sporting event of the year may have been a personal setback for Caitlin Clark, but according to NBA legend and three-time Defensive Player of the Year Dwight Howard, it might have been a blessing in disguise. Back when the Olympic roster was announced, Howard suggested that the time off could give Clark a chance to refine her skills and come back even stronger for the second half of the season. Looking at her performance since then, his words now seem almost prophetic.
She is a great player, but it's a lot of players that, no lie, who, as far as basketball wise, they have the edge over her of why they should be playing in the Olympics right now. Mind you, this should motivate her. This should make her go harder in the gym. The 3 weeks that they off, she should get in better shape.
Since the Olympic break, Caitlin Clark has looked like a different player, while it's hard to know exactly how much her omission from the U.S. roster fueled her. There's no question she found her rhythm skipping a trip to Paris, and avoiding the possibility of sitting on the bench for a loaded team may have actually worked in her favor. It also removed the risk of an untimely injury that could have disrupted her season. Where many saw disrespect or disappointment, Dwight Howard saw an opportunity. He recognized that a player of Clark's caliber was perfectly positioned to use the extra time to sharpen her game and prove she could outshine many of those chosen ahead of her. But with Caitlin Clark, the full picture always matters. Hall of Fame point guard Isaiah Thomas, best known for leading the Detroit Pistons to back-to-back NBA championships, has a knack for seeing every angle, both on and off the court. After a long career as a player, coach, and executive, Thomas shared his take on Clark, mostly praise, with a subtle twist at the end.
I think it's great what she's done, and I think it's great what the media and the WNBA and marketing and the players are doing, because, controversy is not good, but, controversy sells.
Isaiah Thomas pulled off a subtle balancing act, managing to compliment everyone involved while still pointing out the underhanded politics fueling much of the Caitlin Clark backlash. He hinted at a truth many know but few say out loud. Controversy sells, and when Clark entered the league, taking shots at her from all sides became a quick way for the media to stir drama and draw attention. Thomas seems to understand it perfectly, though he's careful not to add more fuel to the fire. In Indianapolis, Clark has already built a strong grassroots following, but when it comes to local legends, she still has a long way to go to match the adoration reserved for past icons. Sitting right at the top of that list is Reggie Miller, deadly three-point shooter and fierce competitor who wore the number 31 Pacers jersey for all 18 seasons of his career. Given his stature, you might expect Miller to embrace Clark as the city's new basketball savior. Instead, he took a different stance, stressing that every rookie has to learn how to handle adversity and battle through competition.
What did you expect was going to happen to her? Number one, I don't think it's jealousy. Oh my God, she's getting all the endorsements, we're going to go after her. You're playing at the highest level. You're playing in the WNBA. You're coming from college and you're going to the pro ranks, right? What did she expect was going to happen? Why are people so shocked? Right? You're playing against grown women. The same thing happened to us.
Reggie Miller came from the old school NBA, an era when physical play was part of the game's DNA. His perspective on hard fouls doesn't fully match today's standards, but in Caitlin Clark's case, the issue goes far beyond normal competitiveness. She's not just battling to prove herself, she's dealing with unnecessary hostility. No one expected WNBA veterans to roll out the red carpet for Clark, but the resistance she's faced feels like more than just earning her place, like an effort to hold her back. Her journey isn't only about respect. It's about demanding fair treatment, even if that means standing tall against the odds. One person watching closely is Magic Johnson. As part owner of the Los Angeles Sparks and a 5-time NBA champion, Magic has deep ties to the women's game. His take on Clark was thoughtful and layered, recognizing her growing influence while also acknowledging the impact of other top rookies making their mark on the league.
Now, Caitlin, her teammates got to come to her defense.
Sure.
You can't allow her to have to fight every battle, right? But we
we have to understand that both Caitlin, Angel, and Brink, who plays for my Sparks, they made the WNBA better. And they're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league, we became the best.
Magic Johnson even drew a fascinating comparison between today's young WNBA stars and his own iconic rivalry with Larry Bird era that helped revive the NBA in the late 70s and early 80s. His message was clear: patience is key. These rising stars will need strong support from their teammates to overcome challenges and claim the top spots in the sport in classic Magic fashion. He managed to praise everyone involved without stepping into the messier side of the debate. Still, his high regard for Caitlin Clark speaks volumes, especially coming from a former NBA great who has a direct stake in a competing WNBA franchise. Anyone who remembers Magic's playing days knows his style has always been classy and composed. The same can't quite be said for his contemporary, Charles Barkley, known for his physical play and blunt personality. Barkley's media presence is every bit as direct as his battles in the paint once were. Now an 11-time All-Star, 2 Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most popular sports commentators in the world, Barkley has weighed in on Caitlin Clark and her WNBA experience several times. While his takes can be colorful, Barkley has mostly been supportive, like in this clip, where he breaks down how her form evolved over the course of the season.
And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. And now, when I watch her, two things I like. She's playing much faster. She was playing too slow the first half of the season.
From the college season.
They didn't even give her the understanding, like, you girls been worded for the WNBA season. Y'all been working out on the nose. She came straight out of college.
Charles Barkley noted that fatigue may have been just as responsible for Caitlin Clark's early season struggles as any defensive schemes thrown her way recently. Though he's seen a clear change, Clark looks more energized, creating more chances in transition and boosting the scoring for both herself and her teammates. But Barkley didn't stop at on-court analysis. He also called out how some WNBA players have treated Clark, delivering his trademark blunt and stinging criticism toward those feeling the hostility. Humor aside, Charles Barkley cut straight to the heart of the Caitlin Clark story. Competition is one thing, but petty, deliberate hostility is another. There have been moments when opponents have sent Clark to the floor with no real basketball purpose behind it. Barkley argues that fellow players should be appreciating Clark's impact, not trying to tear her down, but in his view, the blame doesn't stop on the court. He points a finger at another group entirely, the opinion makers in the media who, he believes, have fueled much of the tension surrounding her.